Two people walked out of a bar on a cold February night in Philadelphia. Security cameras capture their last known movements as they head toward their vehicle. Then, they vanish into thin air. No bodies, no vehicle, no trace. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller. This is the real-life disappearance of Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone. Before we dive deeper into this chilling mystery, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss our future true crime investigations. On February 19th, 2005, 34-year-old Danielle Imbo and 35-year-old Richard Petrone spent their evening at Abilene's bar on Philadelphia's historic South Street. The pair had known each other since high school and had recently begun dating. Danielle was a mother to a young son and worked in the mortgage industry. Richard was a single father who helped run his family's bakery business in Ardmore. It was supposed to be a typical Saturday night out. They met friends for drinks, enjoyed some live music, and left the bar around 11:45 p.m. They were planning to head back to Danielle's home in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, in Richard's black 2001 Dodge Dakota pickup truck. That was the last time anyone ever saw them. If you're finding this case as intriguing as I do, consider giving this video a thumbs up. It helps more people discover these important stories. The investigation revealed several puzzling details. Richard's truck, with New Jersey license plate YFH 2319, completely disappeared. Despite extensive searches, neither the vehicle nor any trace of it has ever been found. There were no signs of the truck crossing any bridges into New Jersey that night. Their cell phones never pinged another tower. Their credit cards were never used again. The FBI joined the investigation early on, and they discovered something disturbing. In the months before her disappearance, Danielle had been experiencing problems with her ex-husband. She had even filed a protection from abuse order against him, though it had been withdrawn. However, investigators thoroughly investigated this angle and found no evidence linking him to the disappearance. What makes this case particularly baffling is the complete lack of physical evidence. Two adults and a pickup truck don't just disappear without leaving any traces. Law enforcement has theorized that this wasn't a random act of violence, but rather a carefully planned operation involving multiple perpetrators. In 2008, the FBI announced they believed the disappearance was connected to organized crime, but they've never publicly revealed what led them to this conclusion. A $50,000 reward for information remains unclaimed to this day. The families of both Danielle and Richard have never given up hope for answers. Richard's daughter, who was 12 when he disappeared, has grown up without her father. Danielle's son, who was just 1 year old at the time, has no memories of his mother. One of the most haunting aspects of this case is how ordinary the evening was until it wasn't. Security footage from Abilene shows Danielle and Richard enjoying their night, laughing with friends, completely unaware that they were living their final documented moments. They weren't doing anything risky or dangerous. They were just two people heading home after a night out. The investigation continues to this day. The FBI maintains an active case file, and both Philadelphia and Mount Laurel police departments regularly review any new leads. In 2019, investigators conducted new interviews and re-examined old evidence using modern technology, but still no breakthrough has emerged. The disappearance of Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone remains one of Philadelphia's most perplexing mysteries. Two people and a vehicle don't simply vanish without leaving any trace. Someone somewhere knows what happened that cold February night on South Street. Until those answers come, their families continue to wait, hope, and search for the truth. Remember, if you have any information about this case, contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. The smallest detail could be the key to solving this devastating mystery. The night of February 19, 2005 left an indelible mark on Philadelphia's history, but there's so much more to this story that needs to be told. If you're just joining us, make sure to watch part 1 first. The link is in the description below. Let's delve deeper into who Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone were before they became the center of one of Philadelphia's most baffling mysteries. Richard Petrone was a devoted father who lived for his daughter. Working at his family's bakery in Ardmore, he'd often bring home special treats for her, decorating cookies and cakes to make her smile. His coworkers described him as reliable, hardworking, and always ready with a joke. Standing at 5 feet 9 inches and weighing 200 pounds, he was known for his distinctive tribal tattoo on his right arm. Danielle Imbo, born Danielle Audebra, was a talented musician who'd once toured with rock bands. By 2005, she'd settled into a successful career in the mortgage industry while raising her young son. Friends described her as vivacious, intelligent, and a devoted mother who always put her child first. She stood 5 feet 5 inches, weighed 117 pounds, and had multiple tattoos, including a flower on her lower back. The investigation into their disappearance was massive from the start. Within 24 hours, law enforcement had traced their cell phone records, reviewed footage from every traffic camera between Philadelphia and Mount Laurel, interviewed all patrons and staff present at Abilene's that night, conducted extensive searches of the Delaware River, examined all possible routes they could have taken. The FBI's involvement brought significant resources to the case. They conducted aerial searches, used ground-penetrating radar in several locations, and even consulted with NASA to analyze satellite imagery from that night. The thoroughness of the investigation makes the complete lack of evidence even more mysterious. One of the most intriguing aspects of the investigation was the FBI's 2008 announcement about organized crime connections. Special Agent Vito Rosselli, who led the investigation, stated they had credible information, suggesting this wasn't a random act of violence. The disappearance required careful planning and multiple participants to execute flawlessly. Some key findings that emerged during the investigation. Neither victim had any known connections to organized crime. Richard's truck had recently passed inspection and was in excellent condition. Both victims' banking and credit card accounts showed normal activity until the night they vanished. Their cell phones last pinged near 4th and South Streets. No evidence of their presence was found at any bridges, tunnels, or toll booths leading out of Philadelphia. Before we continue with more details, if you haven't already subscribed, now's the perfect time. We're committed to bringing you well-researched true crime cases like this one. The investigation took an interesting turn when authorities discovered that someone had attempted to access Danielle's email account several days after her disappearance. The IP address was traced to a public computer in Philadelphia, but surveillance footage from the location was already overwritten by the time investigators identified this lead. Law enforcement also conducted extensive interviews with the staff at Abilene's, customers present that night, residents along all possible routes, both victims' family members and associates, known organized crime figures in the Philadelphia area. Despite these efforts, no credible suspects have ever been publicly identified. The FBI maintains that the case remains active, with agents regularly reviewing evidence and following up on new leads. They've employed various innovative investigative techniques over the years, including advanced cell phone tracking analysis, forensic examination of surveillance footage using enhanced technology, ground-penetrating radar in locations of interest, behavioral analysis profiling, social network analysis of both victims' connections. The methodical nature of this disappearance points to careful planning. Everything from the location to the timing suggests this wasn't a crime of opportunity. As one FBI agent noted, this case has organization written all over it. Time hasn't dimmed the determination of those seeking answers in this baffling case. As we enter 2024, it's been nearly 2 decades since that February night in Philadelphia, but the investigation continues to evolve with new technologies and fresh perspectives. In 2015, 10 years after the disappearance, the FBI's Philadelphia field office announced a significant development. They began using advanced digital mapping technology to reconstruct possible routes the truck could have taken, incorporating historical weather data and traffic patterns from that night. This new approach allowed investigators to eliminate several previously considered scenarios. If this kind of detailed investigation interests you, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. We're dedicated to bringing you thorough examinations of unsolved cases like this one. The families of both victims have become powerful advocates for missing persons awareness. Richard's daughter Angela, now an adult, has dedicated herself to keeping her father's case in the public eye. In a 2020 interview, she shared, "I've lived more years without my dad than with him. but I'll never stop searching for answers. Danielle's son, who was just a toddler when she vanished, graduated high school without his mother present. Her sister Tina has become his voice, regularly speaking at missing persons events and working with organizations that support families of the disappeared. The investigation has revealed several compelling aspects that continue to puzzle investigators. The FBI's theory about organized crime involvement stems from the precision of the disappearance. As one agent noted, the complete absence of evidence is, paradoxically, evidence itself, evidence of careful planning and execution. However, despite extensive investigation into Philadelphia's criminal networks, no direct connections have been established. Recent years have brought new investigative techniques to the case. In 2018, investigators began using artificial intelligence to analyze patterns in similar disappearances across the Northeast. Advanced sonar technology has been employed to search previously inaccessible underwater locations. Cell phone data from 2005 has been re-examined using modern tracking algorithms. New witness interviews have been conducted as people's memories and circumstances change. Cold case specialists have applied fresh psychological profiling techniques. The case has had a lasting impact on law enforcement procedures in Philadelphia. The police department has updated its protocols for handling missing persons cases, particularly those involving multiple jurisdictions. The complexity of this investigation led to better coordination between local police departments and federal agencies. In 2022, investigators revealed they had been exploring a new angle involving cell tower data that wasn't previously available. While they haven't publicly disclosed the specifics, they confirm that modern analytics have helped them better understand the movements of various phones in the area that night. The families maintain close contact with investigators, and both the Philadelphia Police Department and the FBI continue to receive tips. Each one is thoroughly investigated, no matter how small. As one detective noted, in cases like this, it's often the detail that seemed insignificant at the time that breaks the case wide open. The disappearance has also led to changes in how missing persons cases are handled in the media. The extensive coverage this case received helped establish better protocols for publicizing similar cases, particularly those involving multiple victims. Law enforcement officials stress that this case remains active and solvable. They continue to follow up on new leads, re-interview witnesses, apply new technologies to old evidence, work with cold case specialists, coordinate with other jurisdictions on similar cases. The Imbo and Petrone families have never given up hope. They maintain a website dedicated to the case and regularly work with missing persons organizations. Their story has inspired numerous other families to keep fighting for answers in their own unsolved cases. As we conclude this investigation, remember that somewhere someone knows what happened to Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone. Whether it's a witness who's finally ready to speak or someone with a crucial piece of information they didn't realize was important, the key to solving this case could come from anyone watching this video. If you have any information about the disappearance of Danielle Imbo and Richard Petrone, contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, the Philadelphia Police Department's Cold Case Unit, the Mount Laurel Police Department. Submit anonymous tips at tips.fbi.gov. Your information could be the missing piece that brings closure to two families who have waited far too long for answers. Remember to share this video with others who might be interested in helping solve this case. Every share increases the chance that this video reaches someone with crucial information. The mystery of what happened on South Street that February night continues. But as long as we keep telling their story, hope remains that one day the truth will finally come to light.